It's revealed over the course of the season, as is so much about the show. If last year we were introduced to this very interesting and fascinating little town in Louisiana, this second year it blows open, it sort of spins off into these little hurricane stories. You know, Bill and Sicky go off to Dallas, and we have the Fellowship of the Sun storyline, and then we have what's still happening in Bontemps with Marianne and the crowd at Merlotte's, and it's it gets very insane this year. We've had so much fun. It's criminal how much fun we've been having. And I think the show has just such an extraordinarily unique voice, and I've never seen anything like it on television before, and we've just had such an amazing time making this, and we all are very aware and very grateful that we're a part of something so unique and very special. And funny, it's so funny. And lots of sexy people running around with their clothes on. Can't beat that, right? Actually, that statue has enormous meaning as the season goes on, and there's been a lot of interest about that statue, and the Brooklyn Museum, which is where they found that statue, and replicated it, they've been inundated with people wanting to know about that statue and the history of that statue, and so it's really wonderful that in this show that seems to be about vampires and what have you, has now garnered this conversation about Greek mythology and ancient art and thoughts of injustice. It's a landscape that has opened up this really beautiful conversation and dialogue, and it's funny and it's quirky, and it's really its own animal. But that statue has a lot of meaning as we careen like a train on fire throughout the rest of the season. Well, my theory is, especially in America, we've been through 8 years of nonsense and hell, obviously, with the Bush administration, and we're at a time where our economy is just in utter chaos, and people are out of work, and people are losing their homes, and we're stuck still in the middle of this endless war, and there's something, I think, refreshing about being able to watch something that is fun and escapist, yet also has a genuine sense of, it's able to the landscape of that show is, and because it's Alan Ball and our wonderful writers, it still has a beautiful place for social commentary, looking at injustice, questioning compassion. This year deals a lot with the questions of pack mentality thinking, how we're so frightened of our own independent thinking that we'll latch on to group thinking, and how that can be quite destructive and dangerous if you don't latch on to the right group thinking. And so in the midst of it being fun and colorful and very, very funny, and as I said, with lots of beautiful people running around with their clothes on, these themes lay underneath the fabric of that. And it's, but it's never like Battlestar, it's never preachy about it. It doesn't tell you how to feel, it just raises these questions. And it does so in a small, sleepy Louisiana town that is very diverse, not just racially, but as in terms of these creatures. These very different non-human creatures, and so it brings up all of these things as well as just being very good fun. and having, it's a roller coaster, you know, it is that, I know people use that term a lot, but when I watch it, it really is that feeling of glee, you're in glee, and then you come over that hump, and then you're just in terror, it's violent, but in a really sort of interesting and fascinating way, and it's very sexy and raunchy, and it encompasses so much that I think people were just really ready for a good bit of fun that is also incredibly sophisticated and smart. Of course it's Alan Ball. I mean, you know, he's such a wonderful man to work for, and I don't think I've ever run into anyone who's not a fan of his. And I think after in treatment, and I just finished Durham County. Well, no, actually, this happened before Durham County. I wanted to do something light and fun, and I mean, it's a very technically difficult show, and there's a lot of depth to it as well. But as I said, it's just illegal how much fun we're having on that show. So I think that was, for me, it was really important to go and do something that was fun for a bloody change, you know, as opposed to being tortured all the time. Even though I was tortured on that show by having to face quite a few fears, as we all are. I think for me, what's been so great about being a part of that company, and I mean the entire company, the writers, the production team, definitely the actors, it is the most fearless group of people I've ever worked with. And when you're working with fearless people, everyone is galvanized by the fearlessness around them. When you have that courage and that boldness and that fearlessness surrounding you, if you don't join in, you just look like a stick in the mud, you know? And everyone's just having so much fun that it doesn't become an issue. And everybody's just game for anything. And everyone's looking for their next challenge, and that creative atmosphere is so exciting. So that becomes the least of it. And as it's been stated, I'm not spoiling anything, you know, there are quite a few orgies on our show that I'm sort of running. And it's, you know, I think once you're sort of out in the middle of the woods with a sea of naked people, it really becomes, you know, you still just drink your coffee and have your chats with your fellow actors, and it's just no big deal. And, you know, I think the way that nudity is presented on that show is, I think we need to stop being so prurient and prudish about it. You know, I think we need to start being more like Europeans and the Brits in that sense, because it's just nudity, it's just body.